Oh yeah, look at the buffoons in the GOP versus the Democrats who don't really come out and hit them below the belt where they should. They not only should they be hitting them below the belt, they should be doing crotch punting, political crotch punting with these knuckleheads. Yeah, I mean, look at Boebert and Green, for example, Matt Gaetz. Look at all these knuckleheads. They're screwing their constituents because they're not going to legislate. They're not going to do anything to take the issues and the priorities that have been identified in their constituent districts. They're not going to do a damn thing. None of those GOPers are. Those types, the Freedom Caucus types, the remnants of the teabaggers. Yeah, they're not going to do anything. Yeah, and finally, Trump. We've been triumphant over Trump in many respects. We've managed to cut his media nuts off and leave him castrated and relegated to his goofy network. What is it? Trout Social? Troth? The Troth, right? This guy has always been a buffoon. This guy has always been a loser. This guy is not who he said he is. This guy has showed us, well, he didn't show us, and they got his tax returns, and they can see there's pretty much tax fraud that's been going on for a long time. You know, all this stuff. Trump, we knew this about Trump. Many of us knew this about him. We've been following this asshole for years. And yet there's people out there that just loved and adored him because he was their favorite toilet dictator. That's right. Yeah, the only throne he sat on was the gold one where he was dropping the latest passages of McDonald's. What a turd ball. I call him the orange pus bag. And pity on you poor folks, you poor maggots that liked him. I'm sorry that you liked him. It's pretty sad. Now we've got this big thing where we need to embrace fascists, right? Oh yeah, we've got to meet in the middle, and we've got to embrace. And I've been listening to their rhetoric for going on 50 years. I don't know about you. Have you listened to any of it? Probably not. Let's face it, folks. This is going to go on TikTok, so somebody might watch it. Let's face it, folks. Here's what's going on with all that. Most people, and I mean most people, probably 75-80% do not care whatsoever what goes on in politics. No, why should they? Why should they care, right? They've been betrayed. They've been let down. They've been lied to. And so they think, oh, I don't trust any of that stuff. It's a joke. And that's why they voted for jokes like Boebert and Green and Gaetz and gosh, numerous. I mean, numerous. What is there? About 100 of them in the House of Representatives. That's why they voted for them, because they think the whole thing. They think the federal government is a joke. Yeah, it's a $36 trillion joke. Ha. Then we got this debt crap. Okay, so there's a lot of great stuff, YouTube stuff on the debt, what it is, what it isn't, what it ought to be. I'm not going to take a position on it except to say that as far as private debt goes, it ought to all be forgiven. Yeah, that's right. Mortgages too. And I don't care if it bankrupts banks. I don't care if it puts big banks out of business. That's what should have been done back in 2007, 8, and 9. They should have been gone. All that should have gone over to public banks like City of San Francisco has a bank. The state of North Dakota has a bank. But these need to be banks that are owned by the people, not like I had an argument with my late son's aunt on his mother's side about that. She tried to argue that credit unions are a public bank. No, they're not. Credit unions are run by a board. Yes, shareholders have a vote. And when you belong to a credit union, I belong to two of them, I have a vote. It's not much of a vote. It doesn't really give me any power in that institution, and it's not really public. That's right. Now, there is an idea to have the post office do banking. Right. Yeah, they could do banking. So we could have a post office bank. We could have a local bank. Like here in Phoenix, we could have a City of Phoenix bank. We could have a State of Arizona bank that is owned by its shareholders. That's owned by its folks that have bank accounts. That's right. Okay, so there we go with that. Next, I want to talk about full representation. The only way you're ever going to have full representation, I know this is old news, right? Yeah, old news. Jeez, sorry to bring it up again. The only way you're going to have full representation, there's only one way. And that's you have to have democracy in the workplace. That's right. Without that, you really don't have democracy at all. Yeah, we have some representative democracy. You know, there are towns and cities where people can go to their town hall or their city hall meetings, and they can voice their opinions. Okay, that's great. Okay, you have school boards where people can do that. And so what happens is the right incited people in some areas to go into the school boards and raise holy hell over nonsense. Like CRT, nonsense. Nobody teaches CRT in elementary school or in high school and barely in college except for some graduate study programs. And now you got people weaponizing it, the woke weaponization, the anti-woke weaponization. Bullshit. Bullshit. This is all a plot by the GOP and the right to incentivize people, to alarm them, to get them upset about what they think is really going on when it's not going on at all. That's right. Typical. It all boils down to the old Lewis Powell memo from the 70s. It all boils down to that. It's been affected. The corporations really have more say-so in the government than we do. That's right. The government does less than 44% of what the will of their constituents is. What does that mean? Does that mean that 56% is somebody else's will other than the will of the people? It sure does. I mean, it's the will of maybe the 10% and Wall Street. That's right. That's what it is. You know, I mean, one of my favorite economists is Michael Hudson, and he goes on about all. He's an ancient economic historian, and he's written extensively about debt and what it is and what it isn't. Now, corporate debt is overwhelming. It's huge and needs to go away. That's because a lot of the big corporations need to go away. I mean, I do business with these folks. These sons of bitches want to pay you on a net 180 or net 90 terms. Why? Because they're leveraged out there, you know what, all the time. They're over leveraged. So I don't want to hear about, now these guys are not great. No, what do? Most of them go into a community and they don't really help the community other than employing some people. And also, some of the valuable things that some of the corporations do is like in automotive, there's several associated businesses and manufacturing industries that pop up in those regions to make parts, do various services for those large automotive companies. They do for the automakers. Okay, there is quite a bit of that. Okay, so that is a good thing about some of those corporations. Those are manufacturers. Now, manufacturing has come back a little bit. We need it to come back a hell of a whole lot. And that's where people, can get employed, especially if the employees have a stake in the companies. If employees have a stake in the companies, if a company comes into an area and improves the community, I don't mean just building a nice road into their facility so that the trucks can get in and out. No, not just that, but everything around there, making sure that they don't pollute, making sure that their employees have easy access to the workplace. They need to do stuff like that. And they also need to take a look at maybe cutting back on profits and growth to help the employees and to be an asset in the community in which they're located. Numerous sources talk about this. I'm not one of them that's going to go into much detail about this. Now, that's my final topic actually for this morning. I'll come on with another one later.